Hi, boys and girls. This is Miss Beatty. We're going to be doing our culture research project. This is week 8 of remote learning, and we'll be working on writing a rough draft using our research from last week. Let's get started. The first thing we should do is review the teacher model research that we did last week. So I went on PebbleGo and clicked on social studies and culture and awareness, and then I researched a custom around the world and how students go to school. I read sections on PebbleGo and used the information to write a detail on my hand. My first detail was students learn math, reading, science, and writing in nearly all schools. I used my text to help me write my detail in my own words. The second page of text helped me write the detail. The school year lasts from September to May in the United States and Russia. My third detail was that some teachers in Australia use the radio to teach students who live in the outback. The fourth section was about languages, and so my detail was schools usually teach their country's national language and sometimes other languages. Then my final detail was about special subjects, so I chose to say some schools teach music, morals, and technology. I used the 5 details from my research to come up with a main idea. Students all over the world learn important lessons at school. Then I chose 3 of my 5 details that I knew I wanted to include in my writing because I thought they were really important. Those have a star. Now you'll use your hand tracing to write your rough draft about your choice for your research. I'll show an example of what my rough draft would look like using my research. So I'm thinking that good writers use their graphic organizer plan to write a rough draft. So I'm going to think back to my hand tracing, and I'm going to use my main idea sentence as my topic sentence of my paragraph. So I'll begin my paragraph by saying, students all over the world learn important lessons at school. Then I want to include my first detail. So I'm going to use a transition from my topic sentence to the detail by saying, for example, they learn math, reading, science, and writing in nearly all schools. For my second detail, I'm going to use a different transition. Another example is that some schools teach music, morals, and technology. And then for my third detail, I'm going to say, also, schools usually teach their country's national language. Sometimes they teach other languages too. My final sentence of my rough draft will be my conclusion. So I'll say, in conclusion, schools around the world teach valuable lessons to students. So notice how I took my information from my hand tracing and wrote a topic sentence, 3 detail sentences with transitions to begin, and then a conclusion that was stated in a little bit different way than my topic sentence, but pretty much says the same idea. I use the word valuable in my conclusion and the word important in my topic sentence, but they mean almost the same thing. Now let's see what you'll do. You'll use sentence frames to write your rough draft. So your topic sentence will say, blank is an important part of cultures around the world. If you think about the section that had different customs, there were different topics for you to choose from. If you chose shopping, you'll say, shopping is an important part of cultures around the world. If you chose food, you'll say, food is an important part of cultures around the world. You'll substitute whatever topic you chose in the first blank of your topic sentence. Be careful. Some of your choices need the word are instead of is. You would say, birthdays are an important part of cultures around the world. It wouldn't sound right to say birthdays is, so make sure to make that change. You could have chosen Christmas, transportation, clothing, homes, or games. Let's keep going with the idea of games. Maybe you chose games for your research. Your topic sentence will say games are an important part of cultures around the world. Then you want to include your important details. So you'll start with a transition and say, for example, and then you'll tell something you learned about the games people play, in different countries. So you might say, for example, people play chess in Kenya. You'll use a different transition to start your second detail and say, another example is people play soccer in Spain. For your third detail, start with also. Also, people enjoy hopscotch in El Salvador. Your last sentence of your rough draft will be your conclusion. It's when you state your topic sentence in a slightly different way. So you'll say, in conclusion, an important part of culture is, and then you'll use your topic, games, shopping, clothing. So in this case, it would say, in conclusion, an important part of culture is playing games. I've included a word bank here at the bottom to help you with some verbs that you might use in the first blank of your detail sentences. Notice when I was talking about games that I used the word play a couple of times, and I used the word enjoy. If you chose to research clothing, you might use the word wear. If you chose food, you might use the word eat. So be careful to think about what verb works in your detail sentences. Now it's time for you to write. You'll need to review your research before you start, just like we did. So the first thing you'll do is go to PebbleGo, put in the username ePrize, the password school, click Social Studies, Culture and Awareness, and then Customs Around the World. You will need to reread the research section that you chose. Read about Christmas again, or read about clothing again, whichever one you chose. Review it. It's been a week since you saw it. Then you'll reread your main idea and details that you wrote on your hand tracing. Make sure you pick 3 to be your most important details for your writing. Then you'll use the sentence frames from this video to write your rough draft on your own paper. I will also include a link just below this video link with an assignment sheet. That will have the sentence frames as well. So you can either pause the video to see the sentence frames or click on the assignment sheet that gives you more details and has the sentence frames in paragraph form. After you write your rough draft on your own paper, you'll upload it to your Class Dojo portfolio on Friday. Your teacher will be so excited to see all that you've learned about culture.